What if I told you the chest muscle you've been training for isn't just about looking good in a t-shirt, but about how powerfully you can hug the people you love? Sounds crazy, right? Most of us walk into the gym thinking bench press equals bigger pecs, equals better aesthetics. But hidden beneath the surface is a surprising truth. Your chest muscles are not just built for strength or symmetry. They're designed for one of the most human actions of all time: embracing. When you understand how this fan-shaped muscle works, when you see how every fiber connects to make you stronger, you realize there's more at stake than just appearance. This is about connection, about presence, about unlocking the full potential of a muscle you thought you already knew. Welcome to the Wellness Way, where today we're going to uncover the science, the secrets and the strategies that make your chest more than just muscle. It makes you a better human. Stick with me to the end, because what you'll discover might just change the way you train forever. And before we dive in, hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support this channel so we can keep bringing you powerful insights like this one. When most people think about building their chest, they picture themselves standing in front of a mirror, checking how well their t-shirt fits, or maybe flexing a little after a workout to see if those pecs are finally showing up. I used to think the same way. The chest was just another muscle group to train for looks. Flat bench, incline bench, push-ups, maybe some cable flies if I wanted to shape it. The goals seemed obvious: get bigger, look better. But the more I learned, the more I realized that this mindset was only scratching the surface. The chest muscle, what anatomists call the pectoralis major, isn't just about aesthetics. It's about function, identity, and even something as deeply human as how we hug. That's right, hugging. It sounds almost ridiculous at first. Who cares if your chest muscles help you hug better? But think about it. Hugging is one of the most universal forms of connection. We hug when we celebrate, when we comfort, when we greet, when we say goodbye. And every single time we do it, the pecs are hard at work, pulling the arms inward, squeezing tight. Suddenly, training the chest takes on a completely different meaning. It's no longer about posing in the gym. It's about expressing strength through connection. Now, let's step back for a second and actually look at this muscle. The pectoralis major is stunning in its design. Imagine a fan stretched across your chest wall, its fibers spreading outward from the sternum and clavicle, then converging neatly onto the humerus, the upper arm bone. Nature built it to be efficient, powerful, and versatile. This muscle isn't one uniform slab, even though it might look like that from the outside. It actually has three parts, or heads. The clavicular head comes off the collarbone. The sternocostal head runs down the breastbone and ribs, and the abdominal head extends from the connective tissue of the core. Some people barely have that last one, but others show it strongly. The point is, your pecs are layered, complex, and adaptable. The beauty of this structure is in how it functions. All three parts work together to rotate your arm inward, to pull it across the body, and to bring it closer to your torso. If you've ever given a big bear hug, that's the pecs in action. But there's more. The upper portion, the clavicular head, also helps lift the arm forward, while the lower fibers can assist in extending the arm back when it's already raised. It's like an orchestra, different sections playing their role depending on the movement. And this is where things get fascinating for training, because once you understand fiber orientation, you understand why certain exercises feel the way they do. Take the bench press, for example. A lot of people argue about whether it's the king of chest exercises, Some say push-ups are better because they're natural and body weight based. Others swear by flies for the deep stretch. But the truth is they all work. And they all work because they honor the fundamental job of the pecs, pulling the arms inward. Whether you're pressing a barbell away from your chest, lowering yourself toward the ground in a push-up, or squeezing dumbbells together in a fly, the pecs are firing through that same horizontal adduction. That's why these three movements, bench, push-up, fly, stand out. They're not gimmicks. They're not trendy. They are the essence of pec function turned into training. But here's the kicker. The angle matters. You've probably heard people at the gym talk about upper chest versus lower chest. Maybe you've even tried incline or decline benching just to see if it hits differently. That's not bro science. It's anatomy. When you change the angle of your press, you change which fibers of the pecs are lengthened and shortened the most. A flat bench emphasizes the middle fibers. An incline shifts demand to the clavicular head, and a decline digs into the lower fibers. None of these isolate one part completely, but they bias the work. That's why a well-rounded chest routine includes variations, not just endless flat benching. Understanding this is like having a roadmap. Instead of blindly copying a workout, you start to train with purpose. And I have to admit, once I saw the muscle dissected in an anatomy lab, I felt a new kind of respect for it. On a male body, the pecs are right under the skin and fat layer, easy to visualize. On a female body, they're there too, just deeper beneath breast tissue and a thicker fatty layer. For years, women were told that chest training wasn't for them, that it would somehow make them too bulky. That couldn't be further from the truth. Women have the same pec major as men, and strengthening it brings the same benefits: power, stability, and yes, better hugs. The difference is just in visibility, not in existence. What I find truly inspiring is how this changes the narrative of training. Instead of asking, how can I make my chest look bigger? We could start asking, how can I make my chest stronger, more functional, and more connected to who I am? That subtle shift turns the gym from a vanity project into a place of empowerment. It also explains why some of the most effective chest exercises are the simplest. Bench, push-ups, flies. Done consistently, with progressive overload, adding weight, adding reps, pushing for gradual improvement, they deliver results far beyond what any fancy machine can offer. And yes, aesthetics still matter. Let's be honest, we all want to look good. But looks don't have to be the only driver. When I think about training my chest now, I think about posture. I think about protecting my shoulders. I think about functional strength that carries into daily life. And strangely enough, I think about hugging. The pecs aren't just muscles to flex, they're muscles to live through. They make your chest a place of power and comfort at the same time. That duality is what makes them so fascinating. So, the next time you lie down on the bench and unrack the barbell, don't just think about how your pecs will look in the mirror. Think about how those fibers are pulling, shortening, working together as part of an incredible system designed for both strength and expression. Think about how building them isn't just building muscle, it's building a deeper connection with yourself and others. For me, that realization made chest day one of the most meaningful days in my training week. It wasn't just about pressing heavy anymore. It was about pressing with purpose. When you hear the word chest day, what comes to mind? For most people, it's a barbell on the bench press, heavy dumbbells, or maybe the satisfying burn from push-ups. But what if I told you that building your chest is less about chasing numbers or volume, and more about understanding angles, fibers, and function. The truth is, your pecs are not one flat surface you can simply pump with weight. They are layered, angled, and built to adapt. Once you understand this, you stop training randomly and start training intelligently. Here's something I wish I knew years ago. Your pecs are shaped like a fan, and fans don't move in one direction. They spread, they converge, and depending on the angle, they can feel completely different. Imagine holding your arm out straight to the side and then pulling it across your body. That's your pec working. Now tilt the angle slightly upward and you'll feel more of the upper fibers. Drop it downward and suddenly the lower portion is engaged. This small shift explains why incline, flat and decline bench presses exist, not because gym culture wanted variety, but because your anatomy demands it. This isn't just theory. You can feel it yourself. Try flexing your chest and placing your opposite hand across it. As you change the angle of your arm, higher, lower, flatter, you'll notice how different parts of the pec tighten more. That's your body teaching you anatomy in real time. When I first tried this, I couldn't believe how obvious it felt. It made me wonder why so many of us train for years without ever connecting this simple mind-muscle feedback loop. We rush to add plates to the bar, but forget to ask, am I even targeting the fibers I think I am? Let's break it down. A flat bench press emphasizes the middle fibers, the ones most people think of as the core of the chest. An incline bench press shifts more demand onto the clavicular head, giving that fuller look near the collarbone. A decline bench, on the other hand, loads the lower fibers, which can add that under-chest thickness people often miss. None of these isolate perfectly, but they bias the work, which is enough to create shape and balance over time. And this is where the magic of smart training comes in. If you only do flat benching, you'll build strength, yes, but your development might stall or look uneven. Add variation, and suddenly your chest looks fuller, stronger, more three-dimensional. This doesn't require fancy machines or endless exercises, just thoughtful use of angles. It's not about doing more, it's about doing better. Another important layer is how you perform these exercises. I used to think benching was all about moving the bar from point A to point B. Load it up, push it out, repeat. But there's so much more happening. Your shoulder blades need to be retracted and depressed, pulled back and down to give your chest a stable base. Without this, the shoulders take over, and suddenly the pecs aren't doing the job they should. Once I corrected my setup, I not only felt more activation in my chest, but my shoulders stopped aching after every workout. Sometimes progress isn't about lifting heavier, it's about lifting smarter. And don't underestimate the fly movement. People often dismiss dumbbell or cable flies as finishing exercises, but they are powerful for one reason: range of motion. With a bench press, your hands are tied to a bar or moving in a fixed path with dumbbells. With flies, you can stretch deeper and squeeze harder. The pecs love that full arc of motion. Performed slowly and under control, flies create tension at both ends, stretch and contraction, that presses can't fully replicate. It's not about replacing one with the other. It's about combining them to get the best of both worlds. Now, here's something that often gets overlooked. Pec training is not just for men. For decades, the fitness industry sold chest training as a male pursuit. Big pecs, broad chests, powerlifting numbers. Women, meanwhile, were told to focus on legs, glutes, and cardio. But the truth is, women have the same pec major. It may be harder to see under breast tissue, but the muscle is there, waiting to be trained. And strengthening it is just as beneficial. improving posture, protecting the shoulders and creating upper body balance. Once I realized this, I started encouraging female friends to bench, push, and fly with confidence. The response? They felt stronger, more capable, and more in control of their workouts. There's also a psychological aspect here. Chest training is empowering because it connects directly to our sense of presence. A strong chest changes how you stand, how you carry yourself, how you face the world. It broadens the frame, opens the shoulders, and communicates confidence without a single word. For women, it's not about bulking up. It's about reclaiming strength in an area that's often misunderstood. For men, it's about moving past vanity and recognizing that pecs serve a purpose far beyond looks. The deeper I went into this subject, the more I realized how much we underestimate the role of angles and intention. Training isn't just about hammering away until failure. It's about knowing what you're asking of your muscles. Are you stretching them enough? Are you loading them through their full range? Are you biasing different fibers over time? When you answer yes to these questions, results follow naturally. You don't need endless variations or flashy routines. You just need to align your training with your anatomy. One of the most surprising insights for me was seeing how simple cues change everything. Retract the scapula. Keep the elbows at a comfortable angle. Lower the weight slowly. Squeeze at the top. These little adjustments turned chest training from something I endured into something I truly felt. Every rep became an experiment, every set a lesson in body awareness. And the best part, the progress became more consistent because I was finally training with precision instead of ego. So, when people ask me, what's the best chest exercise? My answer is no longer one word. It's not just bench press. It's not just push-ups. It's about the combination: press for strength and overload, push-ups for functional control, flies for range and stretch. And within those, it's about the angle, the setup, the execution. The best chest workout is not the hardest one or the heaviest one. It's the smartest one. And perhaps the biggest takeaway of all, this isn't just for the gym. Training your chest is about more than muscle. It's about learning how your body works, how movement patterns connect, how posture affects presence. It's about realizing that strength is not only about what you lift, but about how you carry it into your daily life. And yes, it's even about hugging, the universal gesture of human connection. Suddenly, chest training feels a lot less like vanity and a lot more like life. When I first started lifting, I believed the secret to a great chest was endless bench pressing. Load the bar, push it up, repeat. That was the formula everyone preached. But over time, I realized something important. Training your chest isn't just about pressing more weight. It's about applying what we know from anatomy to make training precise, balanced, and sustainable. That's when theory and practice meet, and that's when results start to compound. The truth is, you don't need dozens of fancy exercises to build strong pecs. In fact, simplicity works best. 3 core movements, the bench press, the push-up, and the fly, cover nearly everything you need. Each one highlights the essential role of the chest. Pulling the arms inward, whether that's against gravity, body weight, or free weights. The beauty lies in how you perform them and how you adapt them to your own goals. Let's start with the bench press. This movement has earned its reputation for good reason. It allows for progressive overload better than almost any other chest exercise. Adding weight to a barbell or switching to heavier dumbbells is simple, measurable, and effective. But the bench press is more than just brute force. Done correctly, with the shoulder blades retracted and pressed down, it creates stability, protects your shoulders, and directs the load exactly where you want it, into your pecs. The first time I truly nailed my form, I felt the difference instantly. It wasn't just a press, it was like my chest finally woke up. Push-ups might seem basic by comparison, but they're timeless for a reason. They don't require equipment, yet they engage the chest through the same horizontal adduction as pressing. More than that, they demand control. When you lower your body, your core tightens, your shoulders stabilize, and your chest drives you back up. Push-ups teach you body awareness and functional strength. They're also infinitely adaptable, inclined for beginners, weighted for advanced, slow tempo for muscle control. I used to dismiss them as too easy, but once I focused on perfect form and full range of motion, they became a staple of my routine. Then there are flies. To me, this exercise feels like sculpting. The arms arc wide, stretching the pecs at their limit, then squeeze together in a contraction that presses can't fully replicate. Flies highlight what makes the pecs unique, their sweeping, fan-like structure. By moving through a larger range, they create tension from start to finish. Dumbbell flies, cable flies, or even banded variations all tap into this principle. The key is control. Move too fast or load too heavy, and you risk strain. But performed slowly, they deliver an unmatched connection between mind and muscle. Now, if these three exercises are the foundation, the angles are the blueprint. A flat press builds the central chest, an incline emphasizes the upper, and a decline leans into the lower. No one angle is better than the others, they complement each other. Training across all three ensures balance and symmetry, preventing the flat chest look that happens when one region is underdeveloped. This is where anatomy meets strategy. Instead of doing endless sets of the same movement, you rotate angles and watch the pecs transform into a fuller, stronger, more functional muscle group. But training the pecs isn't just about looks or numbers on a bar. It's also about inclusion. For too long, chest training was marketed as a male pursuit. Magazines showed massive pecs as a symbol of masculinity, while women were told to avoid it altogether. That narrative is outdated. Women benefit from chest training just as much as men, maybe even more, because it supports posture, enhances stability, and balances upper body strength. Whether hidden beneath breast tissue or visible on a lean frame, the pecs are there, and they deserve attention. I've seen female athletes transform their performance once they embraced chest work, not because they got bulkier, but because they became stronger and more confident. What's fascinating is how this shift in perspective reframes chest day itself. Suddenly, it's not just about aesthetics, it's about connection. Strong pecs help you carry yourself with presence, protect your shoulders from injury, and yes, hug more powerfully. I'll admit, I used to laugh when people joked about training for better hugs. But now, I see the truth in it. The pecs aren't just muscles, they're part of how we physically express closeness, strength, and even love. That realization makes training more meaningful. There's also the element of learning. Every rep you perform is feedback. The more you pay attention, the more you understand your own anatomy. Are your shoulders rolling forward? Retract your scapula. Do you feel strain in your joints instead of your chest? Adjust your grip or angle. These small observations turn workouts into lessons. Over time, you become not just stronger, but smarter in how you move. That's why I believe chest training is one of the best teachers in the gym. Another point often overlooked is recovery. Because the chest is so heavily involved in pressing movements, it's easy to overtrain it, especially when pairing chest with shoulders and triceps in the same week. Learning to balance intensity with rest is key. It's tempting to hammer the pecs with endless sets, chasing soreness as proof of effort. But growth comes from a smarter cycle. Load, recover, adapt. Respecting this rhythm prevents burnout and keeps progress steady. For me, the turning point came when I stopped asking, how much can I bench? And started asking, how well can I move? That mental shift reshaped my workouts. It wasn't about ego anymore, it was about precision. I lowered weights, fixed my form, and listened to my body. Ironically, once I focused less on numbers and more on execution, the numbers climbed higher anyway. My chest grew stronger, my lifts cleaner, and my joints healthier. So, what does this mean for anyone watching or reading? It means chest training is both simpler and deeper than we often make it. Simpler because a few core exercises done with purpose are enough. Deeper because understanding anatomy, angles, and execution transforms those simple movements into powerful tools. And it doesn't matter who you are, male or female, beginner or advanced, the principles remain the same. Build with the basics, adapt with intention, and remember that the pecs are more than just muscle. They're part of how we connect, how we present ourselves, and how we express strength in daily life. The bench press, the push-up, the fly, these are not just exercises. They are opportunities to practice awareness, discipline, and connection. When you press, don't just push the bar, feel the fibers contract. When you fly, don't just swing the weights, stretch with purpose, squeeze with control. When you push up, don't just rise, engage every muscle, own every inch of the movement. That's where growth happens, not just in size, but in understanding. And if there's one lesson chest training has taught me, it's this. Progress isn't about doing more, it's about doing better. Better angles, better execution, better awareness. The pecs reward quality over quantity every single time. And once you learn that, you stop training blindly and start training like someone who truly understands the science of their own body. Looking back at everything we've explored about the chest, I realize this muscle is far more than I ever imagined when I first stepped into a gym. Back then, chest day was just about chasing numbers on the bench or seeing how my shirt fit in the mirror. But today, my perspective is different. The pecs aren't just muscles for aesthetics. They're instruments of function, posture, strength, and even connection. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that simplicity, when done with intention, is powerful. You don't need to drown yourself in dozens of exercises or follow flashy trends. 3 movements, the press, the push-up, the fly, when approached with good form and smart progression, will give you nearly everything you need. Add the right angles, incline, flat, decline, and suddenly you're training like someone who truly understands their anatomy. That knowledge alone makes training more meaningful. But beyond the mechanics, there's something deeply human about the chest. It plays a role in how we hug, how we carry ourselves, how we show up in the world. A strong chest isn't just about bigger pecs. It's about standing taller, protecting the shoulders, and moving with confidence. And maybe, just maybe, it's about embracing the people in our lives with a little more power and presence. That's the kind of motivation that lasts longer than any number on a barbell. Another lesson I carry with me is patience. Building strength and size doesn't happen overnight. It takes consistency, small improvements, and respect for recovery. In the past, I chased quick results and often ended up sore, injured, or frustrated. Now I see growth as the reward for discipline, not desperation. When you approach training this way, the journey itself becomes satisfying. For me, chest training has become symbolic. It represents the shift from ego to awareness, from lifting heavy for validation to lifting smart for longevity, from thinking of muscles as ornaments to recognizing them as tools for living fully. And in a strange but beautiful way, it represents connection, because when we strengthen the pecs, we also strengthen one of the most universal human gestures, the hug. So here's my takeaway. Your chest isn't just a muscle group. It's a reminder that strength should serve both performance and presence. Train it not only to look good, but to feel good, to move better, and to connect more deeply with yourself and with others. Now I want to hear from you. What's the one chest exercise that has made the biggest difference in your training, and why? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to learn from your experiences, and I'm sure others would too. And if this video gave you a new perspective, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to support the Wellness Way. Together, we'll keep exploring the science and meaning behind the muscles, and I promise, this is only the beginning.